Well, extreme heat isn't just uncomfortable, it's deadly, and it's especially dangerous for older people.
That is why it's important to connect seniors with local resources to make sure they stay healthy in the heat. It's something that Kim Lundgren is working on. She's the CEO of Kim Lundgren Associates. Kim, thank you so much for being with us. And this is an important topic. Many of the people who actually died earlier this summer from the heat were seniors. So what makes heat so dangerous for that demographic?
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm so glad we're talking about this. It's such an important issue, and I think up until now, it's one that hasn't had enough attention. We think about climate impacts and folks think sea level rise and the extreme hurricanes and rain events, but extreme heat has been the #1 weather-related killer, as you all know. And seniors are particularly vulnerable for a couple of reasons. One, of course, they're older and their physical systems, medically, they may be more vulnerable, have more issues there, but also just the social isolation. A lot of seniors, we're trying to work with them to allow them to age in place and stay in their homes as long as they want. And being social isolation can really contribute to being at risk. I can tell you, actually, today is my grandmother's 99th birthday. And up until 3 years ago, she lived alone. And as such, did not have the access to all the resources. And if you think about how a lot of our communication is done these days, maybe a text message is going out about a heat advisory, or folks are getting alerts through internet. Not all of our seniors, especially in that generation, are looking at communications that way. And so we have to really think about how can we connect with them and give them the information that they need. Staying in your home isn't just about being able to afford your bills. It's also being able to be safe during events like this, where heat waves aren't always considered as extreme as, say, a hurricane coming through might.
Right. So #1, happy birthday to Grandma. That's a big deal. So tell her we said happy birthday. Let's talk a little bit more about isolation, because it is a big factor. And when you have communities that can come together, it seems that people kind of fare better. So what are some of the qualities of a community that's well equipped to get through a natural disaster, whether it is a hurricane or a heat wave?
Yeah, those social connections are really key. And I think in many ways we've kind of reverted away from knowing all your neighbors. But we're seeing folks doing that. And research has shown repeatedly that when you have social connections, meaning you have someone you can rely on, you know your neighbors, you check in on them during an event, that helps folks stay more resilient during extreme events. And so it could be anything from, we've had cities that have worked with neighborhoods to Philadelphia, for example, has 6,000 volunteer block captains, where they go around. There are leaders in each residential neighborhood that is going around and making sure folks have the resources they need. They have direct lines to the emergency management office. And so when there's an advisory coming out, whether it's for heat or anything else, they're on alert. They also have resources, and they are tasked with checking in on their neighbors and creating kind of groups that are checking in on others. Folks have put signs in windows just to let them know, hey, we're okay in here. And then if folks don't see the sign, then emergency responders know to go to that home. What folks need to remember is that in extreme events, our local emergency responders do not have the resources to take care of every single one of us. And so it's really important that we are taking care of each other by just knowing each other and checking in. You know, if you have an elderly neighbor nearby and if they're living alone, or even if it's just a couple, if you're able to go and check in on them, even if it's the first time you've ever done it, that could really go a long way. We've been reading stories more and more about folks that are just simply dying in their homes from extreme heat because they don't have the resources and the equipment in their homes to keep themselves cool.
Sad.
Very sad.
Or, of course, the neighbor that'll come check on them. Kim Lundgren, thank you so much for bringing awareness to this issue. CEO of Kim Lundgren Associates. It's a very important topic.
No one is going to be mad at you for knocking on the door and being like, hi, I have some cookies or
just
some whatever. Just want to check on you.
Hi.
And of course, for more stories like this, check out Pattrn on the Weather Channel app, on Roku. You can also find us on these streaming channels. We're on everything.